All right, let's get into some training. So, this is going to be a little different than what I've done in the past. I'm going to preface this by I am no Pastor Augie. I am not even an amateur on the Bible compared to others in the organization, but I wanted to do this a little different. I wanted to tie it in a little bit more to some biblical items. I wanted to talk about how we go from conviction to action. Everybody here has joined. Everybody that's watching this is either joined or is thinking about joining if they're watching the recording. And one of the most important things that we do is, as Joanne talked about it as well, didn't want to just talk about it, didn't want to just talk about somebody should do something about this thing. It's how do we go from that conviction that, yes, something needs to be done to actually doing something. So how do everyday believers fund godly change is the topic for tonight. So let's jump in. I've got some good slides on this, and I think you'll enjoy it. So first one that I want to talk about is the biblical call to act. So I did some research on this, dug in a little bit, and you've all seen this before. Faith is proven by action, not intention. There's a little quote, James 2:17, that says, faith by itself, if it does not have works, is dead. So the teaching point that comes out of that, belief without obedience produces no fruit. You all are here for a reason. That didn't happen by magic. It didn't happen just on a whim. There's a process, there's a plan, and here we are. Now that you see that, you need to obey that. You need to actually do that, and you need to move forward with that. That's what it calls out to be done. And so it's important that we actually take action on this. Something that happens a lot is people will get in here and say, look, I'm not a salesperson. I've never done anything like this. I really don't know what I'm supposed to say. I don't know how I'm supposed to go about doing this. And the deal is on this is God constantly works through willing people, not perfect ones, not the ones that have it all figured out and have been doing this for 50 years. They're going to work through the folks that are willing, right? And so it's important to consider that. There's multiple examples, Moses, Esther, Nehemiah, all these folks, God uses availability more than ability. I don't want anybody to think when they join God's super PAC that you have to have some super magical powers or be, something that you don't already possess. Every single person that joins this organization can become what would be considered a rock star in this organization simply by getting out of the way and letting the good Lord work through you. And so consistency is what is most important. Silence in critical moments is a decision. The choice to not do something. Joanne also spoke to this. It's like she saw my training, but she didn't see my training. Silence. And I've said this as well. One of my big moving points of why I got in is the only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. That's saying it just another way. If you keep silent at this time, relief and deliverance will rise from another place. Esther 4:14. If you have seen this and you don't go tell others, what does that say about you? I've used this quote before. Joanne will laugh about this too, and some of you will as well, who've seen different trainings I've done. If you had the cure to cancer and you kept it to yourself, what does that say about you? You've got your hands on something that divinely touched. Truly, I have never seen anything like what we have our hands on. But just because it's amazing, it doesn't just sit there and magically work on its own. It takes you all, it takes me, it takes us to all go out there and actually open our mouth, talk to others, and share this. So if you're doing silence and you're doing that in those critical moments, when you have a moment to reach out to somebody, that is a decision. So God's purposes will move forward. The question is whether we are going to participate. Are we going to be obedient to that? Next one up is stewardship is broader than money. Everything we have is entrusted, not owned. We're not here for a long time. We're here for a good time for sure. But let's make sure we're understanding that we don't own any of this. And that includes First Corinthians. Let me move this out of the way just a little bit. 4:2. Teaching point here is time, relationships, influences, resources, all are part of that stewardship. And again, stewardship doesn't mean that we own it. It means that we're entrusted with it. We're not going to be here forever, but the things that we do can live on beyond us if we would get out there and actually look at it from that perspective. The influence that we're given, we're accountable for what we do with it. To whom much is given, much will be required. That's Luke 12, 1248. In addition to that, Uncle Ben and Spider-Man said, with great responsibility comes great power, right? Or with great power comes great responsibility. I spoke of the other quote a little bit earlier. Only thing necessary for evil to triumph is good men to do nothing. All of those say the same thing, that we have been entrusted. We have been giving a lot of items. What are we doing with it? If you have influence and it's unused, that influence is wasted. God multiplies faithful stewardship. The parable of the talents, right? Some of those servants were given a little bit more, and a whole lot. Some of them went out and doubled it. Some of them buried it because of fear and didn't do anything with it. The ones that went out and did it were rewarded. And that's what we're here for. So God's going to reward the faithfulness, not for comfort. Is it odd talking to somebody about this? It can be. Or could you look at it and say, you know what? This isn't about me. I'm the steward of this. It's not about what I'm going to get out of this. It's what's going to happen with it. So why does God Super PAC exist? God works corporately, not individually, and not corporately as we sometimes will say, oh, that's a corporate thing. But from a perspective of it's not just you and I in this thing. It's all of us together. Ecclesiastes 4:12, though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. A cord of three strands is not quickly broken. Every single person that we add to this organization makes us stronger. And if each of us just does a little bit, a whole lot's going to happen. A lot of times we get into something like this and we think we got to go out and get 100 people or 200 people. Start with one and add one, and that person adds one. If everybody in the organization this month from previous month, if everybody goes and gets one, our organization will double, which means the money we bring in will double, which means the money that we send to the Tim Tebow organization will double. That's if everybody just got one. Joanne got six. Joanne got six in like the last 4 days of the month. I don't know what she was doing the other 3 weeks, but man, imagine if she really would have got to work. I'm just playing Joanne. She kicked some butt on that last week, right? She brought in six. What if everybody brought in six? That'd be something else. So the teaching point here is unity multiplies impact. Don't think that one person doesn't change the world. If everybody keeps that vantage point, it will. Small acts unified in obedience moves history. Think about the early church as it was sharing resources in Acts. They shared everything. Anything that they needed, they would share that. What are we doing? We're taking a small amount and we're spreading it around to be able to do a lot of good. And everybody's just putting in a little bit. That's the beauty of what we have. Nobody's having to come in here and put hundreds and thousands of dollars involved in this. Bob did to get it started. But the rest of us, we're putting in less than $10 and sharing those resources. Imagine what that can do. And if more will do that. Movements begin when believers align around a purpose. That's what we're here for. We've got a very clear purpose. I started the whole presentation off with that purpose. And what is that? To unite 210 million people. That's hard to get your head wrapped around when we don't have more than 300 people in the organization ever. Imagine when it's got a comma in the number of people. Imagine when it's 5 digits to the number of people we have. Imagine when it's 100,000, 1 million, 10 million. 100 million. Where does it start? With everybody doing small acts, unified in obedience, we will move history. It's not about politics either. It's about protection. Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves. Proverbs 31:8. Advocacy for righteousness is biblical. The organizations that we support is to help those that cannot speak for themselves. That's what we're here to do. That's why God Super PAC exists. So what's your role as a warrior in this? Identity before activity. You are called before you are sent. You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you. John 15:16. Participation is not accidental. You are not here as some cosmic mistake. One thing led to another that led to another. Brad had to talk to somebody for us to get to where we're at. That person had to talk to Pastor Augie. Brad had to talk to Casey Salge. Casey Salge had to talk to Michael, had to talk to Joanne. Joanne talked to this person, that person talked to this person, that person. And you start looking at the web of what that will lead. That's my second Spider-Man reference too, by the way. Imagine how that continues to spread out through history. Warriors lead relationally, not transactionally. That is so important. Jesus called on the disciples by relationship. He had a personal relationship with them. Have personal relationship with your warriors. It's not about 995. It's not about the money that they can make. It's about the good works that we can do together as warriors, people that we know, love, and trust. So movement spread through trust, not pressure. This is not a hard sell. This is a share it with them. We do not convince, we invite. One of the simplest quotes in the Bible, John 1:46, come and see. They invited the guy to come and see what they're talking about. And guess what happened? He saw it for himself and he came to Christ. Invitation honors free will and faith. And when they see it themselves, then they're going to share that message. So a simple, repeatable kingdom model. Pray first. What did we do today? Pastor Augie kicked us off in prayer. Every time I sit with Pastor Augie in anything, we don't talk about anything until he prays over us. We don't do a recording of a video until he prays over us. We don't start our Monday meetings every Monday morning to talk about what we're doing, God Superback, until it prays first. So unless the Lord builds the house, the builders labor in vain. So prayer aligns our heart with God's direction, and then we can get into the action. But make sure you pray first. Share your conviction, not information. There's a phrase in the sales world that say, stories sell, facts tell, stories sell. Right? It's not about the information; it's about your conviction. Another phrase is people will travel from miles away to watch somebody burn if they light themselves up. So get lit up. Make a spectacle of it. Let them know how fired up you are about what it is that we're doing. You should be. What we're doing is amazing. Out of the outflow of the heart, the mouth speaks. Make sure it's done that way. People respond to authenticity, not memorization. You can sit here and have it all memorized, and that's all well and good, but that doesn't move anybody. The passion moves. Make sure you're lined up with that. And then trust God with the results. So many get so bent out of shape when they talk to somebody and they don't move immediately, or they don't join, or they get busy or anything else. Man, your job is done. One plants, another waters, but God gives the increase. 1 Corinthians 3:6. Obedience is our role. Do the steps. The outcome isn't up to you. Not your job to worry about that. Trust the process is another phrase for that. Do the thing. Invite them, tell them to come see, have them take a look. They do or they don't. And if they don't, cool. And if they do, cool. Just do the thing that you're called to do. What are some of the barriers that you run into? Anybody experienced this before? Fear of rejection? That's your ego getting in the way. God has not given us a spirit of fear. Fear of inadequacy. I don't know what I'm doing. I've never done one of these before. Look, His grace is sufficient for you. All things are possible through Him. Don't need to be through you. You simply need to talk. And people will love the authenticity of that. They don't look for a polished speaker. They could care less. They want somebody that's real. So don't worry about that. Fear of conflict, fear that someone's going to argue with you about something. Blessed are the peacemakers. Peace is not passivity. It's taking action. Don't worry about trying to overcome that. If anybody has a conflict on anything it is that we're offering, please send them to me. I will be happy to explain to them. I will be active when I do it. I will come with conviction and I will share, because what we do I have put this thing through the ringer so hard. You can stand behind it. You absolutely can stand behind what it is that we're doing and how it's been built. Some very, very smart people, not me, well beyond me, have put this together, have run it through what needs to be ran through for this to be in place to go, and we've got what we need. So do not fear that. Why consistency matters more than intensity. You ever heard of the term a flash in the pan? Bottle rockets? That's not what we're here for. God honors perseverance. Let us not grow weary in doing good. Galatians 6:9, faithfulness over flash. Whoever is faithful in little will be faithful in much. The payout starts at 50 cents. That's going to be the first amount that you're going to make. And I show a slide, and I'll show it today as well, on how that can be $1 million a month. You got to be faithful when it's 50 cents before you can be faithful at $1 million a month. And don't forget, if you're making $1 million, that means $10 million came into God's Super PAC by your actions. How cool is that? Sustainable movements are built slowly and prayerfully. So vision casting, let's look ahead a little bit. We're planting trees we may never sit under. Others have labored, and you have entered into their labor. Legacy is built through obedience. The righteous leave an inheritance to their children's children. Did you guys know that the network that you build in God's Super PAC is willable to your family? What you're building, what you're getting started can be passed on and on and on. We're not doing this because it's an asset, but it is an asset. Take the talent that's being handed to you and go double, triple, quadruple, multiply it by 10 million if you want to. You have the ability to do it by following our simple steps of what we have. It's all there. Are you going to be there with it? Are you going to stick through? So the call to action, pray over one person God is placing on your heart. I didn't say you needed to go sponsor 10. Joanne sponsored 6. That's amazing. I want you all to go get one. Start there. Everybody in the organization gets one. We double our organization. Have one honest conversation this month. If you want to start somewhere, that's where you start. Do you eat the elephant all at once, or you take a bite first? Do you take that journey all at once, or do you take a step? One honest conversation this month. One faithful step. And then get out of the way. God's got this. Stop getting frustrated over it. It's so simple. Don't make it harder than it needs to be. We're not called to change everything. We're called to be faithful where we are. And if everybody will do that as an organization, as a form of a church, as everybody takes that step, the whole organization will become something that is such a powerhouse. And they will ask, when did you join? Oh my, you were at the beginning? You were in at the first month of this thing? The second, the third month of this thing when it fully launched? You are so blessed. That's what they're going to tell you at the conventions. As we have the first convention this year and the next one the year after that. And then maybe a couple of them the following year, because we can't fit everybody at one of them. We got to have a couple of them. I'm telling you, that's how it goes. I've been a part of organizations that have grown astronomically. I've been on covers of Success from Home magazine for building networks of that caliber. And it had nothing like we have here. It is 100% doable. You just got to do these things here. And that's where you start.